Alright, guys, welcome back. We are watching Made in Abyss, Season 1, Episode 3. Last time, we had a good episode. We learned a bunch of Rico backstory, learned a bunch of stuff about her mom, about Reg. Well, kind of. We don't really actually know anything about Reg, but, we... Some questions about Reg have been raised. That's kind of, that's the point in the story we're at. We're just getting a bunch of questions, not a whole bunch of answers. So, sounds good to me. But we are watching Episode 3. Not much more Can I speak? Not much more to say than that. So let's get to watching. You can line your own copy up with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. Oh, why is it so quiet? There we go. Oh, they stole it. I'm just saying we're really making some assumptions again. Not like I guess maybe it's crazy to say that it's not written to her, but is it? It's like how do we know it's written to her? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's a suicide mission. Yeah, indeed. Are you? Do you actually understand? just, just the thought of that makes her start crying. God. God. Come on. Nah, he's dead. Hmm. Yeah, it's equally as meaningful to him, if not even more. He wants to find out the meaning behind his very existence. Like, man. I guess he just has just as much motivation as Rico to want to go. I don't know, it's an interesting thing to think about, right? Because can you really say it is a good idea for them to go into the abyss? Still don't understand why Cube's hanging out in the opening. That's a little bit freaky. Like I guess just there's a reason why we don't let children do incredibly dangerous things, right? Like obviously. So it's hard to say that like yeah, you should go ahead and go into the abyss, Rico. Have fun. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. I have to decide what I think the author is saying about that, I guess. Because I guess there's something to be said for her understanding. Like, I think she does have an understanding of what it means to go into the abyss, right? Like, she's not like stupid. She doesn't think that. Or, sorry, that's mean to say. She is not ignorant about what it means. As in, like, she knows that she will not be able to come back if she goes down to the bottom of the abyss. So it's not like she's making the decision in ignorance. But does she understand, like, the actual implication of that? It's why we don't let a 12-year-old join the military or something. Like, and I guess that's kind of a good uh, comparison. Terrifying. How would that even evolve? Have that many stingers? What's it fighting? The Iron Rain. Right. Mmm. Mmm. Okay. So, the Hollow. Okay. So, hmm. I'm not sure if we're supposed to expect that that is Reg, or if we're supposed to believe that it's not Reg because of the small differences that Rico said there were in the drawing. Because I guess it would make sense to me if there were more things like Reg, and Reg isn't one of a kind, I guess. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. Either way. It's the most valuable relic ever found. You won. It's it. Oh god, my eye. Sorry. Well, I don't know. No one's lifted that up in a while. There might have been one. There's grass growing on it. No, that's illegal. Yeah, they'll do that for some reason, apparently. What would they sell that? What is the purpose of it? I guess like some kind of manufacturing if it's really that strong, as Rex said. I don't know. Okay, I guess they're just all over the place. Oh, one of the skeletons. Oh yeah, Reg doesn't know anything about it. It's interesting. Reg really is just like us, right? Because he doesn't know any of the lore that we just like we don't, right? From 2,000 years ago. Okay, so the abyss was discovered 1,900 years ago. I wonder how they dated them even. Oh God. Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I is this real or are you just making fun of Reg as with a ghost story? Maybe. I guess. Maybe there's ghosts. Are you sure? Are we sure he's a robot? Come on. Mm-hmm. They sure do. The answers. Hmm. Oh God, it's just so terrifying though. Yeah, I can't really disagree with Nat, honestly. Like, yeah, uh-huh. I can't blame him. Aw. Not motivated if you're stuck here? I guess. It must be rough, you know? Especially in her head, since she's uh, made up her mind that her mom's literally waiting for her right now. Hmm? What is your only lead? I don't even know. Oh, yeah, the curse. So Reg really isn't affected by it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, is it? I don't know. Is it proof that you're a robot? Maybe, I guess. But if we don't know the nature of what causes the curse at all in the first place, I mean, how do we, like what I mean, like what is the physical thing that it does to your body that makes it have that effect on you, you know? All very good questions. Me too. Hmm. That's a good track. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Oh, God. And it is just kind of scary because she really is making this decision. I guess she always wanted to go down into the abyss anyway. So it's not like she's really rushing into it that much, but still. What's Shiggy's position on it? Duped you. Okay. You gotta get this Crybaby problem fixed, Rico. Hmm. Okay, I fix it, please. Okay, sure. Maybe. I guess I mean if I'm not gonna agree that Rico that Reg climbed the abyss, where am I saying he came from though? I guess he must have come from the abyss, right? Like I just where else he was airdropped, like I don't know. Not a clue. Well, probably. Sounds like a good plan to me. Rough map of the Netherworld. Nat came in at the end. God, it looks so cool. Mm-hmm. Man, it is deep. What would be the I don't know. I don't know how like air pressure and stuff works going down into the earth like that. Hmm. Already? That's just that? Man, okay. Just at the second layer already. I don't know why it's organized into layers even, you know? How does that happen? The Great Fault. Man, how deep is it? Goblet's a Giant. I can see why it got that name. The Sea of Corpses. That's quite the name. Man, Capital of the Unreturned. What a name. Capital of the Unreturned, huh? Ooh, sure. Well, would we even know if there are? Yeah, we wouldn't even know. No one can come back. Oh, okay. They can send information up. It can make it that high? Hmm. Interesting. Okay. That's actually very interesting because of like we know how much control like the government seems to have over white whistles too. I wonder how like I wonder what the actual process to become one is. That's very interesting. Uh, yeah, you're gonna die. Oh, or that. Mm-hmm. Probably. I mean, he's probably not wrong. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it, I guess. Because I don't think he's really wrong, and I understand his wanting her to not go die in the abyss for no reason, right? But is it true that it's for no reason? Maybe not, right? You know what I mean? Like, God. Hmm. I would really have to think about it, I think. If no one looks at you, I guess. Gotta at least say goodbye to him. Mm-hmm. Well, that's because he cares. And I don't know, he's hmm, I guess like I guess the idea of crushing her hope is bad, right? And I guess it's like he obviously wasn't able to convince her not to go. So at that point, I guess you could just say, why even bother saying it? But hmm, it's just hard for me to say that I agree that it's a good idea for them to go into the abyss, you know? Hmm, gotta go find Nat, convince him to apologize. Why even knock? He's asleep. Oh. God, he looks so stupid. I don't know why. Just his head, just the only his head being visible under the covers. Hmm. Oh God. I don't say that. Don't look in the mirror. Yeah. Literally. You'll die instantly, apparently. Hmm. I don't know if we will. Yeah. Farewell. Oh God. Not again. Yeah, why be in that room? When do you sleep? Oh God. Come on, sometimes you gotta. Eating things she found lying around. Just pick some stuff off the floor and eats it. Hmm. All right. These cloaks are pretty sick, aren't they? Very good disguises. Hmm. Wish we could know more about the society and how it functions. The idea of there just being a slums by itself is I don't know. What is that top one? Come on. Let's go. So aggressive. Hmm. Yeah. All right. No, he's not. It's already like over? Man, what happened? Hmm. So how do the White Whistles ever get information up then, you know? Yeah, I mean, I guess. It's like it was scribbled in a hurry. But, okay. Maybe. Sure. One of your delusions. Literally. Just like her. Yeah. She does love her delusions. Hmm. It kind of makes you think, though. I don't know. I don't know. God, what is wrong with him? What does that even mean? Rag picking. Mm-hmm. So he definitely knew. Hmm. Oh, interesting. Sick from the toxins in the garbage and died. Jesus. Oh, man. What a motivation to have, huh? Oh, already here. Time for a farewell. Ooh. God, the sound design for all of Reg's stuff is like crazy. Hmm? Okay, sure, sure. She is gonna have Reg to protect her, I guess. We don't know how OP Reg is, I guess. Ugh, rough. What do you even say? Bye, forever. Oh. Hmm. Ah. It's time. Oh, come on. Is that how it works? I guess. I guess. That one was much cooler than her. Oh, okay. That was much cooler than her made up story she started in last episode, though. I believe it. Ah, true. They can turn around for a little bit. Ah, so optimistic. So optimistic. And for it's just so bittersweet because it's just like it's terrifying and also like I don't know. You just really have to think, is it ooh, even darkness is no match. Hmm. Aw. They choose to meet. Okay. With a will of those who challenge. Okay, interesting. Huh. Oh, yeah, we don't get an ending, do we? We saw the credits already. Edge of the Abyss. Sounds good to me. Okay, let's talk about the episode. Alrighty, let's talk about the episode. So, man, I just can't decide what to think because I would really just have to decide what I think the author's like saying with this, you know? The decision to go into the abyss, essentially, you know, because like what? We basically decided, or at least I'm interpreting it as that the abyss itself is basically a representation for just like your desires in life in general, I guess, right? Like um something that swallows you up like literally, like the Abyss does, and it's just like this single-minded purpose that many of the characters in the show have, like Rico and Reg, right? More so Rico, very much. Reg, I guess he's lost his memory, so of course it's kind of a single-minded purpose for him because he doesn't have anything else. Um, and it's just something that they like dedicate themselves to, right? And it's like in real life, it's like how you can dedicate yourself to something you want to do, right? Whatever your own personal abyss is, I guess, right? Like I don't know, like this channel for me, you could say it's like the abyss in a way because it is something I spend almost all my free time doing, right? It's something I really want to do. It's something I enjoy doing, right? And so, like in that sense, using your time, deciding to dedicate yourself to something like that, is similar to me with like these characters deciding, okay, we're going to go into the abyss that's going to swallow us up, like literally. We won't be able to leave. Like we're really locking in on going into the abyss, you know. Although, of course, I guess it's interesting, like trying to figure out how far you could say this analogy goes. You know, like what are we really saying with the idea that once you're in too deep, that you can't leave? You know what I mean? Hmm. Because I feel like there's no way. Like obviously, you know, when I just feel the need to always say this when I'm really going on long discussions about what something like means in a meta sense. But obviously, there's like a reason why the author made it this way. You know, most likely beyond just, oh, it would be really cool if they couldn't leave the abyss, right? Like, I think that means something, right? Um, and I guess it's just, if we're saying that the abyss is like a representation of a person's desires and like a single-minded purpose, like a reason for them to be alive almost, then I wonder what you could say the implication is behind the idea that once you're in too deep, you can't leave. You know what I mean? Like, I guess it kind of makes sense in the idea that like time is finite and you can never get your time back, right? So if you've dedicated a certain amount of your life to doing something with it, something that you're interested in, or even a job that you're working, or even anything like that, anything that you choose to spend your time doing, then yeah, it's time that you will never get back. And I guess in a sense, it's kind of like that's you know that's kind of defined who and what you are the same way that the abyss, once you've entered it and you've gone too deep, you can't leave, right? I guess that makes sense. I'm not fully happy with that analysis completely, maybe. I don't know, it's just something to think about, I guess. So we start off the episode with, at the bottom of the Netherworld, I'll be waiting. Rico somehow stole the note. And we immediately start off with the idea here that her mom wrote it to her. And of course Rico is going to say that she thinks that it's specifically addressed to her, right? But just like when she said that in the last episode to Habo, that she was like, "Oh, it's a letter my mom wrote me," right? He seemed kind of surprised for a second, like he didn't really know what to say, and he was just like, "Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is," because it's not really right. Like it wasn't addressed to Rico in any way, you know. I can't fault her for assuming it is, you know, like she has found so much motivation from her mother and cares so much about her mother, and I guess you know we can't really say that her mom doesn't care about her. She did decide to go into the abyss, though. But you would think that if this was actually specifically addressed to Rico, it would say that it's addressed to Rico, right? And it doesn't. It just says at the bottom of the Netherworld, we'll be waiting. That's all it says. So I don't know. I mean, even Nat himself, I feel vindicated because even Nat himself says that Rico likes to have these delusions all the time. So I'm glad I'm not reading this incorrectly. That yes, it is obvious that her narrativization of these types of things that centers around her and this grand story she's creating, or however you want to call it. It's kind of her going off the rails a little bit, but I don't know. But I guess if I'm saying that this wasn't written to Rico, then who do I think or why do I think it was written, right? Um, I guess I don't know. There was the thing that Rico said later about how it looks like it was scrawled out in a hurry, and like that she thinks that her mom must have sent a bunch of them up. Everyone says that they think that's like a good idea, I guess. But it also makes me wonder, like, what does she mean that it's scrolled out in a hurry, right? Like, is it like uh, different handwriting than there? I assume that's what she means, right? That it's like the handwriting looks different than the rest of the long, like the journal stuff that we have from Liza that we know is from Liza, right? This note if the handwriting looks different, how do we even know it's from Liza in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, because it's just weird that it's there, I guess, you know? And it's not addressed to anyone in specific. But I guess like, it's interesting because there's one person who is Rico that is going to immediately assume that it is written to her and that it is referring to her, right? So I guess, like, what am I saying then? That there's some evil, nefarious person down in the abyss who wants to trap Rico by writing this fake note and putting it in there? Like, how would anyone other than Liza know that Rico is even up there if it's someone in the abyss who wrote that other than Liza? You know what I mean? So maybe that idea just doesn't even go anywhere, right? But I don't know. It's interesting to think about, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But I just feel like it is important to note that we don't. I feel like it is specifically intentioned by the author, obviously, that there's no reason to actually think that it is directed to Rico specifically, right? Of course, I understand why she thinks that, but we don't have confirmation of it, and I think that's important. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And of course, like, the interesting thing here to think about is she does get a big burst of motivation from this, from seeing the letter and all of that. But we already knew that she was very motivated to go into the abyss anyway. So I don't really think this is like her just rushing in and deciding, oh, I have to go into the abyss right now. I mean, it kind of is, but it's also like the reason I'm making this distinction is because I feel like that would be a strong case against the idea of her just going into the abyss, because, like, decisions made in haste like that are normally not very well thought out, right? But this has been something she's wanted to do for a long time, right? The abyss has had its claws in her for forever, She always wanted to go down as deep as possible, as soon as possible. So I feel like that's not that strong of a factor exactly. It's definitely something that helps and made her decide, oh, I have to actually leave right now immediately. But I think Reg's arrival is also a large part of that might have ended up making her act like this anyway. But then again, no, because Reg said that it's been a couple months now, right? So, no, I guess this really is a pretty strong motivator compared to her mindset before. I kind of forgot about that time jump. So, in that case, maybe it is kind of a decision made in haste, But what's anyone going to say to change her mind? No one's going to be able to change her mind, So, I don't know. I guess it's just something to think about. Of course, Nat is kind of like the logical, normal person here who doesn't want Rico to die in the abyss. And I don't know. Again, it's like if I'm thinking about what the abyss, you could say it represents just as like someone's desire, what they want to do with their life, I guess, Then, like, who is Nat? You know what I mean? Like, I guess it's someone who cares about her and is, of course, in this case, like, giving up your life for the abyss is a very literal thing, and he doesn't want her to do that. So maybe the analogy just kind of falls apart there. I don't really know what to say more about that, but of course, I mean, I feel bad for him that all of his buddies are leaving, Rico and Reg. I assume Reg's his good friend now too. It's gonna be him and Shiggy and Kiwi, I guess. Rough. Rico just starts crying immediately when he just brings up the very natural consequences for not being able to go down. I mean, of her going down, I mean. But I guess there's something to be said for that, right? Like, I don't know how much to factor in the fact that they are just children, right? Because in my mind, the way I think about this is because they're children, because Rico's a child, and Reg, assuming, I mean, maybe Reg's 500 years old, who knows? Because Rico's a child, it is hard for me to say that I think she should be allowed to make decisions like this that are going to literally permanently change the course of the rest of her life, right? And I would always say that if she is going to make this kind of decision, she needs to have a full understanding of what it means. And I guess that's what kind of Nat does here. He makes sure that she does understand what it means. Sure, she starts crying about it, but I guess she goes down anyway, right? So I guess she is doing it with an understanding of the consequences, right? I don't know. It's a moral conundrum for sure. Man, and like the note, it even looks like, well, I don't know. I was gonna say it looks like it's cut off, but I guess I don't know the writing, right? Like, I was gonna say it looks like it's cut off on this side, but it looks more like it would be cut off on this side with that weird, like, symbol there on the side. But I guess that just kind of, I mean, unless it was just like cut with scissors right there or something, right? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I'm suspicious of it. That's for sure. Departure. And I guess like I'm maybe more suspicious about it than you would think I would be because like it's Reg is also here and Reg is weird, right? Reg came up here who apparently either met Liza or someone just like Reg met Liza. And Reg is freaky and he's like a weapon or something. So I don't know. I don't know. I could think of a million different things that I could say any of it means, but who knows? Who knows? The story will tell me. We get to see all these crazy monsters that are down there in the abyss. They're cool. I don't know. It's cool. It's like we really are applying natural selection here, right? We got evolved species. It has a shell to withstand the iron rain. That's pretty cool. I gotta wonder the stinger head thing with the 5 stingers. Like what kind of things are it fighting that it's gotta have that much self defense? And yeah, I don't know. Is this Reg? Maybe. I mean, it tries to make us think it is, but there is the only reason I would think it's not is just because of what Rico said about it not being Reg in the last episode. So I don't know. And I guess I see what she means already. Like I guess this is kind of like a hexagon when Regs is just a circle. Like I don't know. I guess. And doesn't Regs only have 1 horn and this one has 2? Or am I crazy? We learned some about relics, kinda. We just learned that they sell them for profit. Sure, we already knew that. Child labor for profit. Sounds good to me. Greg runs into another one of the skeletons, which apparently they died 2,000 years ago. They're all in that position of praying. But they said the abyss was discovered 1,900 years ago. So, I mean, is Nat just rounding up here? Or I don't know. I don't know. How do they know they're from 2,000 years ago? I assume they don't have carbon dating or radiometric dating. So, I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. I mean, I'll just take Nat's word for it, I guess, right? 2,000 years ago. Sure, why not? 1,900 years ago that they discovered the abyss. I don't know. I don't know. Nat tells Reg a ghost story. I don't know how seriously to take it. I mean, I feel like either it's like um foreshadowing something. It's gonna be like I'm gonna go back and read this at some point and it'll be like, oh, that's what it's talking about, or it just like is actually true in some weird way. That would be crazy. I don't know. I'm hoping that there aren't actually ghosts. That would be kind of freaky. But hmm. And yeah, Greg brings up that they indeed do not know the cause of the curse of the abyss, which is very interesting. I'm wondering if the curse is supernatural, if there is some kind of if it's possible to study it and like form a naturalistic explanation for it, you know? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I assume this universe would have to have weird different laws of physics. I don't think something like that can exist in our world, but you know. What was Rick thinking his only lead left is? I don't even know. He didn't really finish that thought, did he? I mean, like, I guess I wouldn't call it a lead, but the idea of just going down into the abyss, sure. But would you call that a lead? I don't think so. We see the effects of the curse. Even the first layer is this bad. That's crazy. Or is this even the first layer, or is this just the edge of the abyss? Is that a separate thing? I don't know. I don't remember if they say specifically that or. And yeah, Reg's mind is just racing all these questions that we have as well. And we want to know. We do want to know. We are sneaking into the abyss. I wonder how much trouble they would be in if they like got caught. You know, if they didn't make it down. I don't know. I don't know. They are going together. I'm surprised. I don't know. Like, what is it? No, I was gonna say I'm surprised. Like Nat doesn't decide to go with them, but we know that Nat has motivation to stay on the surface, right? He wants an orphanage, right? So yeah, I guess everyone has their own reasons for doing what they do, right? Like, hmm, interesting to think about. I guess maybe that's kind of the point of this, right? Is that Orth has the slums, which seem like a terrible, awful, dangerous place to live. And maybe the point of that is up here in Orth isn't actually that much better than going down into the evil abyss that kills you. You know what I mean? Like, maybe the juxtaposition there isn't. Maybe it's just not a juxtaposition. It's just a direct comparison that, oh yeah, up here isn't actually that much better anyway, right? And especially, the reason I'm bringing that up especially is because, like, Nat's desire, right? Just like their desire to go into the abyss, his desire is to make an orphanage in the slum, you know? So, hmm. And Shiggy gives us some details on the abyss. We get the map. It looks very cool. Man, how do they even know what's down past the the layer where you can't come back up, right? The last dive layer, whatever layer number it was. The capital of the unreturned, which is the craziest name ever. Like, how do they, is this just an artist's rendition? Like, these look like eyeballs. Like, is Cthulhu down there? Like, what, like, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so the edge of the abyss is the first layer. Okay. Hmm. Forest of Temptation? I wonder if it's why it's called that. Temptation. I guess temptation is a fitting theme with the abyss in general, right? It's kind of why the society exists in the first place, is the temptation to go into the abyss, right? There's somehow an inverted forest. Who knows how that's possible? Third layer, the Great Faults. Good luck. I don't know what they're going to do about that. The Goblets of Giants, which looks crazy. The Sea of Corpses, which, like, what are we talking about? Like, what? Like, all right, there's a sea of corpses. What is even, like, what are we even looking at? Are these I, I don't know. I don't know how those form naturally. Couldn't tell you. And then the capital of the unreturned, which is the most metal name of all time. That's crazy. Yeah, never be able to return home past that layer. God, that'll be. I assume we're gonna reach that point sometime in the story. You know, that would be a crazy moment when you make the final decision essentially. And yeah, we bring up this idea that people do send up information, but if it's not a white whistle, it's considered hearsay. And we brought up the idea that white whistles are almost like controlled by the government in some weird way, right? They were forcing Liza to go after the unheard bell and all that kind of thing. So, like, is there some kind of weird information control going on here where, like, there's stuff way down in the abyss that the government slash state don't want people to know about, so they just sign it off as being, they're crazy from the curse of the abyss, and the white whistles are somehow, I don't know, the white whistles are just people that they trust to not do that or something, people that they hold some level of power over to make them not do that, right? Because again, it's like there was so their power over Liza was so powerful they could make her go down to the abyss and do a bunch of stuff when she was pregnant, right? Because that we were told that she had to do it, So it just really reminds me of being a member of the military. Like, that's just an interesting comparison, I guess. Not that I've been a member of the military, but I guess my idea of it. Hmm. Live on is a voice of the abyss. I guess that makes sense. That kind of outlook towards it makes sense, right? Like the Resurrection Festival, kind of their attitude around like death and like who a White Whistle is and what they do. They're very like, it seems like the idea of death for them, like your literal physical death, is much less extreme than we have it, like we think when someone's dead it's like awful and they're dead, but with this society it's like your legacy living on and all of that is much more important. Rika's brought that up herself, right, about how many legends she's going to create when she goes down into the abyss, and I don't know, it's an interesting thing to think about, because really that is true, that your impact on the world doesn't end with your death, as long as there's things that people remember you for, like Liza herself won't be dead for a long time in that metaphorical sense, right? Hmm. And maybe that's why Nat obviously can't get through to her, but maybe that's also why it's painted in such a negative light for us, I feel like, Is that like her mom being alive or not? Maybe that's just not the point, Hmm. I don't know. Obviously, like the idea of crushing her hope and everything, trying to stamp out her desire to go down, is bad. I don't know. I don't know. Got to think about it, I guess. Greg sure does have a handy hand. It is time to leave. I'm gonna try and get Nat to apologize. I guess Nat just comes along to apologize by his own volition, because Greg never talks to him. So let's go, Nat. He goes off to try and convince him, but instead he says goodbye to Kiwi. We learn it's Kiwi's birthday, and he's not feeling well, which is terrifying. Surely the birthday thing, illness, isn't real. like we're just gonna, I don't know, I guess we wouldn't even know if Kiwi dies. How are we gonna get that information? Right, just they're gonna send a letter down to them and be like, oh yeah, by the way, Kiwi died the day after you left. That would suck. Hmm. Run into leader one more time. It's like the final time where it's so obvious that all these kids just aren't actually sneaking around and being super smart and getting around the adults, you know? Because based off what leader says at the end here, it's pretty obvious that he knows what's up, right? Um, or at least maybe he doesn't literally know they're going to the abyss, but he knows that Reg is lying to him right now and that Rico is not at the toilet, right? So, I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of been a funny undertone this whole time that they think they're getting away with all this stuff, but they aren't. Man, the terrain looks so crazy. Like, just look at this shot. Like, what? Man, it's just insane. How do they even like use these windmills? Like, where's the power going? They have a big cable connected to it going all the way down this cliff. God, the buildings just look insane. It's so cool. And he has this amazing disguise. This top thing he's wearing looks so stupid, like the face on it. How could she tell he's Nat immediately? I guess he's just the correct height and just looks like him. Like, gotta make up. Gotta leave without regrets. Because it really is. I guess that's just the hard part. Is it really seems like it's like a it's a suicide mission, right? But I don't know. Is it fair to call it a suicide mission if she's doing what she wants to do? You know what I mean? Like, sure, she can never come back, and sure, she's making a decision that's going to have an impact on her life forever. But it's not like she has to die. She'll just be somewhere else. You know? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. God, the slums don't look like a good place to me. It's just like all built on top of each other. It just looks horrifying. It's like the walled city. Kowloon. Yeah, Rika brings this up. We already talked about this. I don't know. It's interesting. I wonder how it got beat up like this. If it was inside an envelope, how did it even get this like weird wear and tear on it? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. If her delusions made sense. Maybe, but watch that be the one that's wrong. Which is what I'm thinking. Yeah, this is not up to code. This can't be up to code. There's no way. I don't know, just the idea of there being a slums in general, I guess that makes sense, right? Like it's obvious that yeah, the society around here is not a paradise either, right? I mean, like I guess we blatantly know that the abyss is just used for profit for selling the relics and stuff. So at least that's what the people on top are using it for. Actual people who go into the abyss themselves and have a desire to explore it aren't like that. But yeah, and where there's profit, there's slums, unfortunately. Does Rex Stain only have one horn? No, it has two horns. I'm crazy. Okay. Yeah, and Rex sees this thing. I don't know what it is. Something. Ah, and it's time to leave. Time for a separation. Feel so bad for Nat. But at the same time, it is interesting, worth thinking about how, you know, sure, Riko is choosing her desire to go down into the abyss over not their relationship, but it is causing them to be separated. And Nat's kind of doing the same thing, right? Like, it's clear that his desire to eventually open this orphanage one day is so important to him that he's not going down with them, you know? So I feel bad for him, but it's clear that he's kind of doing the same thing at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, it would be like if Riko told him, "Oh, you're stupid. You'll never be able to open an orphanage. You should just come into the abyss with us." Like, what would you know? So, I guess, right? But at the same time, it's just interesting to think about like what's being said with that. You know, that it's okay to sacrifice your relationships for your other desires. I don't know, but I guess maybe that's just an unfair way of thinking about it. You know what I mean? Oh God. Be connected by the abyss. And yeah, she says something cool for once. There she goes again. This one was much cooler than her previous story making session. Ah, down we go. Down we go. Need some narration here. Heading into the chasm for which even darkness is no match, for those who offer up their bodies and challenge it, the abyss is said to provide all. Life and death, curses and blessings, all of it. At the end of their journeys, what fate will they choose to meet? That can only be decided by the will of the netherworld, or the will of those who challenge it. Man, it really just seems to me it's just like devoting yourself to some kind of desire, or some kind of, maybe even specifically just some kind of, you know, change that you want to see in the world, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just interesting. The idea of it swallowing you up feels like that just fits for me. You know, life and death, curses and blessings. It's not always going to be a good thing. It might not work out the way you wanted, you know? But it's said to provide all. Hmm. Maybe trying to apply, like, any specific thing to it is hard. Like, to compare the abyss to, like, some specific, desire that any individual might have. But just as, like, desire as a whole, or, like, something that you will want to dedicate yourself to. It's just, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about, I suppose. Hmm. By the will of the netherworld, or by the will of those who challenge it. Like, a very interesting sentiment. And that's the end of the episode. It was a very good one. A very good episode. And next time we have The Edge of the Abyss. We're going to be caught back up in no time. Only 4 more episodes after this one, and we'll be back to where we were. So it sounds good to me. Because what we have 2 seasons and a movie. I don't know how long the second season is. This one 13 episodes? I think this season's 13 episodes, right? So yeah, we got a lot that we haven't seen yet. So it sounds good to me. Of course, I don't know. Of course, I know that a lot of people are going to want to watch these because I've seen the first few episodes before, and people value your first reaction to things, which like makes sense. But I figured if I was gonna want to watch it again to like reaffirm my takes on the story and everything, I might as well just upload videos about it. You know, like I'm gonna do it anyway, and me talking about it in these discussions helps me like establish what I think about it. It helps me work through my thoughts really well. You know, so if these videos get 0 views, fine with me. Anyway, subscribe if you enjoy my videos. Leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next one.